everybody in my family, my uncles and aunties, everybody are upgrading.
The Singaporean dream turned sour. How upgrading and a culture of getting ahead became corrosive.
The expectations of the life that you could lead. Perhaps being human is also being tuned to one more.
I guess part of me truly believes life is not a bed of roses. Hence, I think part of the things that I would think about if I were to train my daughter is I want to train her to be resilient.
Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Reality Bites.
Am I supposed to do that also?
Yeah.
Reality Bites.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, I'm Shanna, your host for today, and today with me we have Dr. Chua Wei Bin and Paul, and they may look familiar if you have caught our previous episode. Today on our podcast, we will be talking about the Singaporean dream. We'll look at how we define our purpose and identity and the struggles that come with it all. So, without further ado, maybe let's just start with the very first question, right? In 3 simple words, what does the Singaporean dream mean to both of you?
3 simple words.
In 3 simple words.
Yeah, three simple words. So it's a summary of a summary of a summary. For own definition is how I'll describe the Singaporean dream.
Maybe I would just say it feels a bit like getting ahead. I remember going with my aunt to bookstores to look at books because she's like doing her upgrading. Everybody in my family, my uncles and aunties, everybody are upgrading. The Singaporean dream, right, is about work hard, study, upgrade, get better jobs. But nowadays, I feel that it has changed into more like getting skills. There's this whole DSA. There was a report that says 16,000 students get into schools from DSA now. And then now parents are like preparing the kids really early. So getting ahead, I think also starts way early. So there's this whole idea of, I want to have the added edge over the other person.
So when you were sharing that, the very first thing that came to my mind was there are many things that we do as Singaporeans that's very outcome oriented. Right. So for example, like you send your kid, maybe
it's not because you enjoy the thing.
Exactly.
It's not because you
exactly.
enjoy.
I think what I'm seeing, at least like among my peers or people I'm hearing, is damn sian, or you know, there's that sense of dread or doom of doing something that I don't actually want to do, but you have to do it.
Or even if it's something that you want to do, the reasons change to become you have to do it.
Exactly. And does that, you know, when we talk about mental well-being and the state of our frame of mind, maybe you can weigh in here. How does that affect?
From a clinical standpoint, I definitely acknowledge that this is definitely will affect mental well-being, or how driven, or you know, how much of the meaning we see. Then the other view is also old school view, right? It's like, in Singapore we have no luxury to think of that. It's like, you know, you have to survive. It's almost like succeeding means surviving. Like it's almost like don't be so privileged, you know. Think about meaning in life. It feels almost like it's not something we can afford. That kind of thing.
Like, you know, you were talking about survivability and security.
Yeah.
Over time, I guess after we've gotten that base level, we want to advance to like self-fulfillment. Right? But what if that's your desire and everyone around you tells you you should not be dreaming of that because it is selfish, it is privilege?
I do have a reflection on it. I mean, on one aspect, right, if you think about it, the expectations of the life that you could lead, you feel or you perceive that you want to lead. And then your perceived ability for you to be able to do that, you know. And I like to say it this way because perhaps being human is also being tuned to one more, to want to know what's the next step that I could take. In the past, I think that they talk about it using the words social mobility. That means you want to be able to hit that next tier. Etched in the Singaporean dream, right? That's why it's called a dream, right? I mean, that's maybe like level 10, you know? So the perceived ability works this way, right? If you feel like you're able to, or there are pathways, or there are, if you do something long enough, or you drill this or practice hard enough, you know, you will get to the next level, and you are able to do it, then there is much less dissonance within you, lah. But I feel that a lot of times when these dreams start to become a little bit more out of reach, right? And sometimes and again, the word I use is perceived, right?
Yep.
And when these things seem to be more and more out of reach, that's where we will struggle, and we will start to think about, hey, do these dreams make sense? Or we will start to stress or to be anxious because it seems like I'm going to be stuck in this box forever. And how do I make sense, or how do I find joy, and meaning in life?
I guess social media and the internet at the palm, I am able to assess that, how a million different people live their lives. Yeah, then of course, if I start to compare, then I might.
But this comparison has always existed. So in the past, but in the past, we had to go to a party, like a physical party, to witness or to sort of see the social differences, right, between us and our friends, Then, but now like what he says, right, you have the immediate reference point.
Yeah.
And because social media might feed you like 20 or 30 of such people who are so-called living a certain life.
Yep.
Those who have a story to tell, they turn up. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Those who have a story to tell, they turn up. Yeah. So that's first and foremost the context you must have. You must have, right? Whether it's social media or you're attending parties, you must have that context. Because because the rose-tinted glasses works both ways, right?
Right.
Because we're talking about hyper competitiveness, we're talking about hyper outcome oriented, right? And what Paul also mentioned, that when our perceived ability to access that thing becomes out of reach, then we start struggling, right? And because of that, there are some people who are rejecting this notion. I guess we want to explore the different ways that people respond to this Singaporean dream, because there is this Straits Times article that said the Singaporean dream turned sour, how upgrading in a culture of getting ahead became corrosive. Relating back to maybe your experience as a therapist, right? Do you observe a similar phenomenon?
I have the sense that people seem to be more likely to feel, can I use the word, not sure, uncertain. What should I do? Well, because of the options available, they find that maybe their parents sometimes can't really give them the direction.
Perhaps one step before the uncertainty, but how I see it will be, how do you view this occurrence in your life? Do you see it as a disappointment, or do you see it as liberation? Now, let me unpack this a little bit, right? If you are able to perceive it as an opportunity, to that you are liberated from a certain pattern or way of doing things. Perhaps if you are not able to manage the different options that you have in your hand, that's where it gets a little bit confusing for you.
Just now you were saying, it's all about managing your options and managing that. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, in response to both of you, what are some ways that we can manage these options and manage this feeling of uncertainty that, definitely leads to anxiety and stress Why
I don't know if there's any easy answer.
Maybe you can therapize.
I don't know. I think maybe this is not so optimistic answer. I think one of my own answer is manage your own expectation. I mean, if you have a high expectation, I think that might be go a long way, because I think the challenge is this. I think social media and different all the different brands that try to sell you something, they are marketing a certain ideology, right?
Yeah, and we live in such a consumeristic.
Yeah, and it would take time, I guess, for us to figure out what we really, really want. What will make us happy? What will make us fulfilled? Yeah.
Actually, have a slightly different approach, right? Be able to break that goal down into quantifiable steps. I feel that expectations will sort of adjust it for you along the way. I think that's one. The other possibility is as you are pursuing that, you get your dreams in a second job.
But is there this anxiety about making the wrong step that then frees people up, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like, the marathon is this far, then I take concrete steps towards it, right?
Go wrong direction.
Yeah, but there's always this, I feel that a lot of people are fearful.
Yes.
Like, what if I take the wrong step?
So
information, I think. Yeah.
So normally, if say you were to advise like an individual on
Wow.
unfreezing or just the encouragement of, hey, take that next step, right? What would that look like?
I guess the idea is similar, the idea of failing forward. Failing forward. No, as in every time you do something so-called wrong, or then is one, you learn something, right? So you're always moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think the human condition just pushes us along, right? In terms of continually to improve the way that we make decisions on important things in our lives.
I think what you are saying essentially is, I guess the technical term is how people can be reflexive, how people can make modifications
Right.
as they live their life and seeing the effects of their decision making and whether the effects of the decision making fits their intended effects. Do I intend it to be like that? And then as they live it out, they make changes. But I tend to think that then some people, they can't. They can't make these adaptations. They can't make these adjustments. There will be people who, because to make these adjustments and these adaptations, I think you need a certain level of psychological resources, if you like. You need to have a certain ability and you need to be not anxious. Like, hence, I think part of the things that I would think about if I were to train my daughter is I want to train her to be resilient. Because setbacks will come. I guess part of me truly believes life is not a bed of roses. There will be difficult moments. You will get heartbroken. You will have things that will come your way, and I might not be there for you. Right? So so that's my take, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Very nice sharing. The last segment of this is we talked so much about society, social norms, me as an individual. I think I want to zoom out and talk about individual versus society, not to be too abstract. But when you don't fit into the cookie cutter idea of what should be, and you naturally become the quote unquote outlier of society, you're deemed as falling behind, or there's a sense of FOMO, right? How do you ever come to terms with that? Because I know there are so many people around me who really feel like they're outliers. I feel like that affects the way that you connect with people as well.
So, I guess what comes to them is this sense of, is it like shame, like something is wrong with me, right? You don't fit the mold, but there must be a good reason why you don't fit the mold, right? Then you have to consider for yourself what is your own unique strengths or unique preferences, or how did you choose to live your life according to a certain value system, right? And how do you stick by it and be, I guess, because you chose that, and be unapologetic and accept that you have your idea, people have their own ways, and that's that.
I think what I'm hearing is really a desire to fit in a sense. I would focus more a little bit about unpacking why there is such a strong need for community from that person. What exactly is he or she is looking for is when he desires to be part of a community, any community. If you understand, society rewards the unique.
Yeah, I think people do need to hear that, sometimes that affirmation that it's okay to stick out, it's okay to be unique. We talk so much about a Singaporean dream, but really we're talking about purpose and identity and society and community. And do you guys have any last words for that?
Wow.
Sound like you're trying to say something like some wise words before we
wise words.
Yeah, wise words.
I don't think I have any. I think we acknowledge that the world has changed very rapidly. Yeah, if there's a way, if I will bet my money, if there's a way to measure social cultural changes in the world, I'm going to bet my money that it has escalated tremendously over the last two or three decades.
If you look ahead, the world will definitely continue to evolve and change. Things will always seem a little bit out of reach. there will always be such moments. So what I like about what we've been saying is, there's a part of it that, what do you want to build within yourself, knowing this. So this, for this, you don't need a crystal ball. You know it's going to happen, right? So how do you prepare for it in a sense? Resilience is definitely one answer. Things that we talked about, whether it is managing expectations, that's also another possible answer. Looking at situations as opportunities wherever you are, that is also another form of answer. But these answers are not meant to be formulaic. They're meant to be different ways that an individual can look at his or her station in life, right, and make sense of it.
Just have to jump in and do a bit of a sales pitch for CCC.
Of course, yes.
So I think that's where, coming to CCC, if you need to talk about life, talk about direction. Actually, when I was looking at our caseload, one of the top few help-seeking reasons was transitions, managing transitions in life. So I suggest how do people make choices during these transitions. So I guess what we offer then is a safe space. Because we talk about being reflexive and being able to figure things out and what's the best choice, is giving you a safe space, means a space that you don't get judged, a space for you to talk it out, to reason, and then to consider your next moves in terms of your decision making. And I think that's what CCC counselors can offer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And we have come to the end of yet another episode. Thank you for tuning into the Reality Bites. And make sure to stay tuned to our next episode where we answer your questions on the Singaporean Dream. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.